The night that changed everything. Vila lived in a quiet valley on a distant planet. The sky had 2 moons, and they rose together every few days. Her people feared those moons. Their light brought something dangerous. It was not just light. It was a force, a heat, a call that could burn the body from inside. That's why, whenever the moons rose, Vila locked herself inside her shelter. She covered the windows, sealed the roof, and waited for the night to pass. No one was allowed to come close, not even her own kind. But that night was different. A strange sound came from above her shelter. Something was landing. It was loud, with a bright blue fire beneath it. Vila froze. Her heart beat faster. She had never seen a ship like that before. Then she heard footsteps, slow and heavy. Someone was outside. Daniel was a young human explorer. He had crashed during a storm and was looking for help. His scanner showed a structure nearby, so he walked toward it, hoping to find shelter or someone to speak to. He didn't know what this place was or who lived inside. He only knew that he was tired, hungry, and alone. When he reached the top of the shelter, he saw a closed hatch on the roof. Curious, he opened it. Vila didn't have time to scream. The hatch above her head opened wide, and the twin moons poured in their silver light. A beam touched her skin. Her eyes widened in shock. The heat came fast, like fire under her skin. Her chest tightened. Her hands shook. Her breathing changed. The moons had touched her, and it wasn't her choice. She looked up and saw a human face staring down at her. He looked just as surprised. He quickly pulled back, realizing something was wrong. "Are you okay?" he shouted. Vila couldn't answer. Her body was burning from inside. She stumbled out of her shelter into the cool night air, but it didn't help. The moons were still above her. The light followed her everywhere. The heat was not just physical. It reached her thoughts, her emotions, her instincts. Daniel followed her, trying to help. He took off his jacket and tried to cover her. She pushed him away. "No," she cried. "Don't touch me." But he didn't run. He stood still, hands up, showing he meant no harm. "I didn't know," he said gently. "I was only looking for help." Vila fell to her knees. Her body was shaking. She had trained her whole life to avoid this. Her people taught her to fear the moons. And now she was exposed. And worse, the one who exposed her was not even from her world. Daniel took slow steps toward her. "What's happening to you?" She looked at him with pain in her eyes. You let the moons touch me." He frowned. "What does that mean?" She gasped for breath. "It means I might not survive this night." Daniel's face went pale. He didn't understand everything, but he understood enough. This girl was in danger, and he had caused it. Without thinking, he knelt beside her and gave her water. She took it, hands shaking, lips dry. When she drank, the fire slowed just a little. "But not enough. I'll help you," he said softly. "You can't," she whispered. "No one can." She tried to stand but fell again. Daniel caught her this time. She didn't stop him. His touch was warm. It didn't hurt her. It cooled her, just a little. Her eyes searched his face. Why did his touch feel different? The moons were still high in the sky. Their light made her skin glow faintly. Daniel noticed it, but said nothing. He only held her steady, helping her walk back to the shelter. But she pulled back. "I can't go in there," she said. "Not while the moons are out." "Then we'll stay here," he said. "I won't let you be alone." Vila looked at him with confusion. "You don't even know me." Daniel smiled. "No, but I see you're in pain, and I see that I caused it." She wanted to hate him, but something inside her, something older than logic, did not let her. His presence calmed her burning skin. His voice softened the heat in her chest. She sat beside him in silence. The moons lit the land around them. She was supposed to hide, to fear, to suffer alone. But this time, she wasn't alone. That night, something changed. A wall broke. A rule was crossed. A curse was awakened. And neither of them knew. This was just the beginning. Burning skin, racing heart. Vila's skin glowed like soft fire under the twin moons. The heat inside her was not fading. It was rising higher, like a wave ready to crash. She had never felt this kind of burning before. Her body didn't feel like her own. Her blood moved fast. Her heart raced, and her breathing became quick and shallow. The fire was not just pain. It was hunger, need, and fear all mixed together. She wrapped her arms around herself and closed her eyes, trying to stay in control. Daniel watched her carefully. He didn't move too close. He had seen how his touch affected her. But he also saw the fear in her eyes, and something about that. Fear made his chest hurt. She wasn't just in trouble. She was fighting something deep and powerful, and losing. "Tell me what's happening," he said gently. She opened her eyes slowly. "The light, it changes us." "Changes how?" Vila looked up at the moons. "When we are touched by that light without protection, it starts something. A heat inside us. It pulls at the body and the mind. If it grows too strong, it can destroy us." Daniel felt cold all over. "Is that happening to you now?" She nodded slowly. "Yes." He looked around. There was no help coming. No one else in sight. The night was quiet, but the moons made it feel like a trap. He had to think fast. "Is there a way to stop it?" he asked. She looked away. "Not really. Once it starts, it burns through the body. Unless what?" Vila hesitated. Her voice dropped. "Unless the one who triggered it stays close and gives balance." Daniel's eyebrows lifted. "Me? But I didn't mean to." "I know," she whispered. "But the light thinks you're my chosen one now. My body reacts to you. If you leave, the heat might become too much." Daniel took a deep breath. His heart beat fast now too, but not from fear. He was tied to something he didn't understand. And yet, he couldn't walk away. He couldn't leave her like this. "Okay," he said. "I'll stay." Vila's lips parted in surprise. "Why would you do that? You don't owe me anything." He sat down beside her, not touching her, just close enough. "You're alone. You're hurting. And maybe I did this. But I'm not the kind of man who runs when things get hard." She looked at him for a long time. His words touched something inside her. Not the fire, but her heart. Minutes passed. The night wind blew. Softly, but it couldn't cool the burning in her body. She leaned back against a smooth rock, breathing heavily. Sweat rolled down her neck. The heat was still there, deep and dangerous. But she noticed something else now. When Daniel spoke, the fire slowed. When he looked at her, her heartbeat calmed. His presence was doing something strange, something powerful. She didn't want to admit it, but she felt safer with him near. "I'm scared," she whispered. Daniel turned his head. "Me too." They both laughed softly. It was a weak laugh, but it broke the tension for a moment. A small connection had begun to form, one made not by choice, but by force. Still, it felt real. Then Vila spoke again. "My people fear this light. We believe it brings madness if not controlled. That's why we lock ourselves away when the moons rise. But now, the light found me. Because of you." Daniel lowered his head. "I'm sorry." But she shook her head. "No, I'm not blaming you. I don't know what to do now." Daniel stood slowly and took off his jacket again. He folded it and placed it beside her like a pillow. "You rest," he said. "I'll stay here. If this fire needs balance, I'll be the balance." Vila looked up at him, eyes wide. "You would do that for a stranger?" "You're not a stranger anymore," he said softly. She laid her head on the jacket, still breathing fast. The heat was still inside, but her body was beginning to listen to her again. Her fingers stopped shaking. Her vision became clear. Something was changing, not because of medicine, not because of magic, because of a human. Daniel sat nearby, staring at the stars, unaware of how deeply his simple kindness had touched a girl whose world feared everything outside its own light. The night was long, but the fire inside Vila was slowly becoming something else, and though she didn't say it out loud, for the first time, she didn't want to hide from the moonlight anymore. The ancient curse Vila woke slowly. Her body still felt warm, but the fire inside her was quieter now, like glowing coals instead of roaring flames. She opened her eyes and saw Daniel sitting beside her, still awake. He had not slept. He was watching the moon set in the sky, his face calm, his eyes full of questions. For a moment, she only looked at him. His skin did not glow under the moons. His breath was steady. He was different, not just because he was human, but because he was not afraid. She sat up and spoke. In a low voice. "You stayed." Daniel turned to her and nodded. "I said I would." She looked down at her hands. "Then I must tell you the truth. About what is happening to me, and what you've started." He frowned. "You said the moons bring heat. I understand that now. But what else?" Vila took a deep breath. "It's not just heat. It is a curse, old as my people. Long ago, before history was written, our kind lived freely under the twin moons. But something changed. A strange sickness spread. Not a sickness of the body, but of desire. Uncontrolled. Wild. It destroyed families. It broke minds. The elders called it the calling, and they said it must be feared. Daniel listened without interrupting. So they made rules, Vila continued. When the moons rise, we must hide. Never be touched by the light. Never let anyone expose us to it. Because, if we are, our bodies go into mating heat. We become weak to instinct. And if the person who exposes us is near, our bodies think they are the chosen mate. Daniel's eyes widened. Wait, that's why your body reacts to me. Vila nodded slowly. Yes, you opened the roof. The light hit me. And now my body believes you belong to me. Even though my heart says nothing, my body wants you. Daniel looked away, nervous now. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't even know you were in there. I know, she said. That's why I don't hate you. But that doesn't change what the curse has started. My people will feel it. They'll sense the bond. And when they come, they won't accept this. Why not? He asked. If I didn't hurt you, and you don't want this, can't they stop it? Vila shook her head. There is no cure. Only two choices. Complete the bond, or break it by force. And breaking it is painful. Many have died trying. Daniel sat in silence. He had traveled to many planets, seen strange creatures, heard wild stories. But this one felt personal. Real. Heavy. I'm sorry, he said softly. This isn't fair. Vila looked at him. Her voice was quieter now. It's not about fair. It's about survival. The moons have always tested us. But never like this. Never with someone from another world. They sat together as the sky turned darker. The moons were lowering, but the fire inside her was not gone yet. Is it possible, Daniel asked, that the bond could be something more than a curse? Vila blinked. What do you mean? He looked at her seriously. I mean, if your body chooses a mate through light, does that mean it's wrong? Or is it possible the curse is a way your kind forgot how to trust instinct? She was quiet. No one had ever said that before. The curse was always a punishment, a fear, a warning. But Daniel didn't see it that way. You think the bond could be a gift? She asked. I think it could be, he said. Not if forced. But if both people choose each other, maybe the fire becomes something more. Vila's heart beat faster, not from heat, but from something else. She didn't know what to call it. Hope, maybe. But then a deep sound filled the air. A horn. A signal. Her eyes snapped to the sky. My people, they're coming. Daniel stood quickly. Will they hurt me? She stood too. No. But they'll try to break the bond. And if they see what's inside me now, they might think I accepted you. Did you? He asked. Vila looked into his eyes, breathing hard. I don't know. But when I was burning, you stayed. And that means more than you understand. The sky was glowing again. Not from moons, but from the lights of ships above. The tribe was here. And everything was about to change again. Asterisk trapped by light and destiny, the sky, filled with the soft roar of engines. Bright lights moved across the dark, and shadows fell over the valley. Vila stepped back, her eyes locked on the ships above. Her tribe had arrived. Their arrival was expected, but still, her chest tightened. Daniel looked up, then at her. What do we do? He asked. Vila didn't answer right away. She stared into the distance, where dust swirled in the air as the ships landed. She had thought about this moment many times, but now that it was here, it felt different. She didn't want to leave. She didn't want to explain. And she didn't want to lose the strange calm Daniel had given her. They will take me, she said at last. And they will try to pull the bond out of me. They won't understand that I didn't choose this, but that I also don't want to run from it anymore. Daniel stepped closer. I'll go with you. Vila shook her head quickly. No, that will only make things worse. You are the reason the bond was formed. If they see you, their fear will turn to anger. I don't care, Daniel said. I'm not letting them hurt you. Vila looked at him with eyes full of something deep and hard to explain. It's not pain from them I fear, she whispered. It's the pain of being alone again. Before he could answer, a group of her people appeared. Tall figures in silver armor moved through the dust. One of them stepped forward. Vila, the voice rang out. You were exposed. Come now. We will fix this before it's too late. Vila did not move. She looked at Daniel, her fingers curling into a fist. The fire inside her still burned slowly, but it was no longer wild. It was shaped, controlled, calmed by the man who stood beside her. The tribal leader approached, his face cold. Why? Do you hesitate? You have not bonded yet. The light touched you, but it is not complete. We can remove it. No, Vila said softly. I don't want it removed. The elder's eyes narrowed. You've gone too deep. You've let the bond take root. I didn't mean to, she replied. But he stayed. He didn't run. He held me when the fire was strongest. Daniel stood straight, but said nothing. He didn't want to speak for her. He didn't want to break what she was building. The elder motioned to the guards. Take her, before it becomes permanent. 2 warriors stepped forward. Daniel reached for her, but Vila stopped him with a touch. Let me speak, she said. She turned to her people. You call it a curse. But this human, who knew nothing of our rules, broke them by accident. And still, he stayed. He didn't run from me. He faced the fire without fear. Can you say the same? The tribe whispered among themselves. One warrior looked unsure. Another lowered their eyes. The elder growled. It does not matter. He is not of our kind. Vila raised her voice. Maybe that is why the fire slowed. Maybe the bond became stable because it was with someone different. Someone who does not carry our fear. The elder paused. His face changed. For the first time, doubt crept into his eyes. Daniel finally spoke. I didn't come here to take anything. I crashed. I found shelter. I saw someone in pain, and I stayed. If that's a crime, then punish me, but don't punish her for trusting a stranger. Vila walked toward the elder. You say I'm cursed, but for the first time in my life, I feel strong. I feel seen. The elder stepped back. Then, you choose the bond. Vila turned to Daniel. Her heart pounded. Her skin still glowed faintly from the heat. She had been trained to fear it, but not anymore. I choose him, she said clearly. Even if the fire returns, even if it burns again, I will not hide from it. A long silence followed. Then the elder turned and walked away. So be it, he said. But know this, the bond is now yours to carry. If the heat rises again, you must face it alone. Vila nodded. We will. Daniel looked at her. We. She smiled, tired but strong. You started this by accident, human. But now you're part of it, by choice. The stars returned to the sky as the ships lifted off. The tribe left without another word. The valley grew quiet again, and in that silence, 2 hearts stood together, not bound by force, but by decision. The test of fire. Vila thought the worst was over. The tribe had left. The night was quiet again, and Daniel stood beside her, still calm, still willing to face the unknown. But deep inside her chest, something still flickered. The fire was not gone. It was only sleeping. She hoped that time would cool it. But fate had other plans. The next night, the moons returned to the sky, brighter, fuller than before. The silver light touched the ground like a whisper. It reached the edges of the valley, then slowly crawled across the stones, the grass, and finally touched Vila again. She stood still when it happened. At first, nothing changed. But then, her breath hitched. Her eyes widened. The fire returned, fast and sharp, stronger than before. Her body trembled. She gasped and held her chest. It's back, she whispered. Daniel moved to her side. What do you need? I don't know, she said. Her knees buckled, and he caught her. She leaned into him, her forehead resting against his shoulder. The fire this time was not just heat. It was pressure. It pushed her heart, her thoughts, her very being. She was scared. Why is it worse? She cried. Daniel helped her sit against a stone wall. Is it because you chose me? He asked softly. Vila nodded. The bond has begun. My body recognizes you. The fire rises to test the strength of our connection. Daniel frowned. Tested how? If we are not truly connected, if there is doubt, fear, or rejection, the fire will grow until it burns me from the inside. Daniel swallowed hard. Then what do I do? Vila looked into his eyes. Stay with me. Speak to me. Let me hear your voice. If my body believes you are truly mine, it may listen. It may calm. He nodded and took her hand. I'm here, Vila. I'm not going anywhere. The fire in her skin rose again, like waves of heat running across her body. She closed her eyes and tried to breathe slowly. But her body shook. Daniel spoke gently. Tell me what you see when you close your eyes. She whispered, I see light. I see burning skies. I see myself alone, standing in the moon's glow, waiting to be torn apart. You're not alone, Daniel said. I'm right here. Look at me. She opened her eyes slowly and saw his face, calm, strong, steady. His words were like cool water poured over fire. Her body didn't stop shaking, but something inside her, something deeper, began to soften. You're not just a mistake. She said softly. You're a key. The fire wants to test if I'm truly bonded, and it's asking me to trust. Then trust me, he said. I may not know everything about your people, but I know how to stand by someone in pain. She leaned her head against him again. Her heart pounded wildly, but the heat inside her began to shift. It was no longer trying to consume her. It was asking her to accept, to surrender, not in weakness, but in belief. Daniel pressed his hand against hers. You're strong, Vila. Stronger than anyone I've ever met. Her breathing slowed. The flames inside her settled, like wind calming over fire. The sharp pain faded. Warmth remained, but it no longer hurt. It hummed inside her chest, like something alive, but gentle. I think it's working, she whispered. Daniel smiled. Good. Because I didn't have a backup plan. They both laughed softly, even in the middle of fear. It felt unreal, how laughter could grow inside a storm. But it did. Then a sound echoed in the distance. Not machines, not ships. Voices. The tribe had returned. Vila tensed. They're watching. Daniel stood slowly and helped her rise. Her legs were steady now. Her skin no longer burned. Her eyes were bright, clear. The tribal elders stepped forward, watching carefully. You were tested, one of them said. And you are still standing. Vila nodded. The fire rose again. But he stood with me. Another elder stepped closer. And did you give in to instinct? No, she said firmly. I chose calm. I chose his voice. I chose my will. The elders whispered among themselves. Then one of them spoke clearly. Then the bond is yours. The fire is past. You are marked now, not by mistake, but by decision. Vila looked at Daniel. His eyes met hers. No words were needed. The test had come. The fire had tried to break them. But together, they survived. Asterisk the bond that shouldn't Beidou's past. The twin moons no longer burned Vila's skin. The heat that once shook her body was now only a memory. But peace did not return. Not really. Vila and Daniel stayed in the valley, watched closely by the tribe from a distance. Whispers followed them wherever they went. Vila had survived the test of fire. She had not broken. She had chosen her bond. But many still did not believe it was right. It's not natural, some elders said. A human cannot carry the balance. The fire was silent only because she forced it, others claimed. This will not last. Even the sky seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Vila tried to ignore the voices. She focused on the calm inside her. Every time she looked at Daniel, she remembered the night he stayed, the night he didn't run. His presence brought silence to the storm inside her. That meant something. It had to, but one evening she was called to the temple of the elders. Daniel wanted to go with her, but she stopped him. This is my path. If I fail, it won't be because of you. He gave her a small nod. I'll wait right here. Inside the temple, the air was thick. The walls glowed softly with ancient energy. The elders sat in a circle, their faces unreadable. You survived the heat, one of them said. Yes, Vila replied. You bonded with a human. Yes, she said again, her voice clear. Then prove it was not false, another elder said. Prove it now. Vila frowned. How? One of the elders placed a small glowing crystal on the floor. This is a heartstone. It shows truth. If your bond is real, it will shine with balance. If your bond is weak, it will turn dark. Vila stared at the stone. She had never seen one before. She didn't know if it would help her or expose her. What if it turns dark? She asked. Then you must break the bond, came the cold reply. You will forget the human, and he will be sent away from this world. Vila's heart skipped a beat. She looked at the stone again. Then she stepped forward. Her hand hovered over it. Her thoughts raced. Was her bond with Daniel strong enough? Or was it just built from fear and accident? She closed her eyes. She remembered the fire, the pain, the loneliness. She remembered Daniel's voice, his warmth, his choice to stay. He had no reason to help her, but he did. Again and again. Her hand touched the stone to at first. Nothing happened. Then, the crystal glowed. Slowly, softly. A pale blue light filled the temple. The elders leaned forward. The stone did not darken. It did not shine bright like legend, but it glowed with balance. Not perfect, not broken, strange, one elder said. The bond is real, but it is not complete. It's still growing, Vila said. We are still learning each other. You speak as if that is enough, the elder replied. It is, she answered. The elders looked at each other. Finally, they nodded. You may keep the bond. But understand this. No one in our history has bonded outside our kind. You are the first. Vila bowed her head. Then let this be the first of many. When she stepped out of the temple, the night air hit her face. She found Daniel waiting at the edge of the rocks. His eyes were full of worry. What happened? He asked. Vila smiled. We're still us. He let out a breath. That good or bad? She laughed. It's everything. That night, they sat by the small fire Daniel had built. The stars stretched across the sky. The moons were hidden for now, sleeping behind the clouds. Vila looked up and whispered, They say the bond shouldn't be. Daniel looked at her. What do you say? She turned to him, her voice gentle. I say, maybe we're what happens when people stop being afraid of what's different. And in that quiet moment, under a sky that once burned her skin, she reached for his hand. He didn't pull away. The bond that shouldn't be had already begun to change everything. The final moonrise, the night of the final moonrise had come. It had been many days since Vila touched the Heartstone. Many days since the elders allowed her bond with Daniel to continue. Still, not everyone accepted it. Whispers still followed them. Some called her brave. Others called her cursed. But none of that mattered now. Tonight, both moons would rise full and bright. When they did, the fire inside her would return one last time. It was not a test from the tribe. It was a test from the moons themselves. If the bond between her and Daniel was true, the fire would fade forever. If not, it would rise stronger than ever and tear her apart from the inside. Vila stood at the edge of the valley. Her eyes locked on the sky, waiting. Daniel stood behind her. Are you sure you want to do this? He asked. She nodded slowly. I have to. This is how it ends. Or how it begins. The first moon appeared, silver and cold. Then the second, red and bright, rose behind it. Together, their light spread across the land. It touched the stones, the trees, the ground, and then her skin. The fire came instantly. Vila cried out and dropped to her knees. Her hands gripped the earth. Her body trembled. The heat was unlike anything before. It was not just pain. It was everything. Fear, desire, memory, love, and doubt. Burning all at once. Daniel rushed forward. I'm here. She looked up at him, her eyes glowing. Don't run, she gasped. If you leave now, it'll kill me. I'm not leaving, he said firmly. Never. He held her face gently. Her skin was hot, but he didn't pull away. He closed his eyes and pressed his forehead to hers. Listen to me. You're not alone. You're safe. I'm not afraid of your fire. I'm part of it now. Tears rolled down Vila's face. The moons lit her body like she was made of light and flame. Her mind screamed, but her heart heard his voice. And then, the fire changed. It softened. The sharp burning turned into warm waves. Her heart slowed. Her shaking stopped. The heat inside her became still. The moons glowed brighter, but they could not touch her anymore. She was protected, not by force, not by hiding, but by something stronger. The bond was complete. She fell into Daniel's arms, breathing hard but calm. It's done, she whispered. It's really done. Daniel held her close. You did it. No, she said softly. We did. From the shadows, the tribe watched in silence. The elders stepped forward. They saw Vila standing tall, her body untouched by pain, her mind unbroken. The fire is gone, one of them said. She has balanced the bond, said another. One elder stepped closer and spoke loud enough for all to hear. The moons have accepted the bond. The curse is lifted. And for the first time in our history, the fire bowed to love. No one spoke for a while. Then, quietly, some of the tribe knelt in respect. Others lowered their heads. And for the first time, the whispers stopped. Vila turned to Daniel. You came from the sky and changed my whole world. Daniel smiled. And you changed mine. Later, that night, they walked alone under the calm moonlight. There was no fear now. No hiding. No fire. Just peace. Just two people. So different, yet now forever tied by something stronger than blood or laws. They walked. Vila reached out and touched the sky with her fingers. It used to burn me, she said. Now it feels like home. Daniel looked up too. Maybe that's what love does. It turns pain into light. And far above them, the twin moons glowed, not as a warning, but as a witness to a bond that should not have existed, but now could never be broken.